It's another to fall. Throw it down. Lonzo Ball from Jordan Clarkson.
Curry with the fake on Jaylen Brown. Drills.
Chance to be around him, you realize he is perfect.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Bernie here, back at you again today. What we have on the charge, guys, is the most anticipated game in recent memories and recent years, and that was the Boston Celtics versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Of course, it was an exciting game at the end, but let's just start off of what happened in this game, and it's a very sad news for Boston fans, including myself, and that is the injury that happened to Gordon Hayward. It was a very gruesome injury. If you feel squeamish, I would advise you to not watch what happened because it is a very, very troubling video to watch of what happened. Of course, it was a freak accident. There wasn't anybody's fault or malicious intent to hurt him, but of course, it is an issue here for the Celtics as they were trying to build up to potentially maybe go to the NBA Finals. I myself did not think that they were going to go to the NBA Finals with or without Gordon Hayward. But it was going to be a fun team to watch because we could see them grow as a team together and just see them really just become a team finally, where we have two superstars where you could have one player resting on the bench and the other one could be out there on the court. And I think that was a little bit evident, especially in the third quarter, in my opinion, where not the third quarter, sorry, but like the first and the second quarter where we only scored 19 points compared to the Cavaliers who scored 29 and 25. So it was a very bittersweet game. I'll tell you the stats right now for everybody. They're for the game leaders. So for points, it was Jaylen Brown. He shot 11 for 23. Didn't really go to the free throw line just once. That's very... I know he's not going to get the superstar calls, but I don't know. Scoring 25 points and only getting one free throw, he made one free throw, but getting just the free throw line once is a little puzzling, but... Let's just continue here. For the Cavaliers side, of course, it was LeBron James, who had a beast stat game. He pretty much led the whole Cavalier team in all these stats. So, of course, he was going to lead in points, 29 points, 12 and 19. Led in rebounds with 16. Led in assists with 9. And then for the Celtics, Kyrie led the team with 10 assists. Jason Tatum led with 10 rebounds. And the story of the game just basically came down to the fact that, of course, during the first and second quarter, after the Gordon Hayward injury, of course, it was going to affect the team in a, I wouldn't say a negative way, but definitely in a sucks the whole life out of them. And it also sucked the whole life out of the arena, and it sucked the whole atmosphere that was supposed to be this really big, tough matchup of, Kyrie getting booed at some point, seeing if the Celtics can potentially compete with the Cavaliers. And I wanted to know if Gordon Hayward didn't get injured, would he have made a very big difference to where it would have been a blowout for the Celtics? But we can't predict the future and we can't make assumptions here. It just sucks to see that they got injured, and it's just very, very disheartening, especially for Gordon Hayward. I hope he has a speedy recovery. I hope everything goes well and he's able to play the season. If not, hopefully he's ready for next season and ready to kick some ass. But let's go to the team stats right here. So the Celtics, of course, shot 41% basically, and the Cavaliers shot 45%. That's never going to go in our favor as a Celtics person, or Celtics fan, I should say. But the thing is that the Cleveland Cavaliers are always going to get good shots. I think LeBron always gets his teammates in good positions, and LeBron also doesn't take wild shots and doesn't go for crazy shots, which is something that other players have been known to do. But with LeBron, he doesn't do that at all. He knows when to take his marks. I mean, you saw the field goal percentage of him. He was 12 of 19, so of course he's going to take good shots. He's not going to take bad shots. Sometimes his threes are a little bit questionable, but that's neither here nor there. But it kind of was evident tonight, as you could see here. Boston only shot 25%. Meanwhile, Cleveland shot 22%. So if Cleveland can be on fire with J.R. Smith, with Kevin Love, and LeBron James sometimes shooting, and then when a healthy Isaiah Thomas comes in, it's going to be a completely different story. And I think they'll be able to really open the door, keep the door wide open, and they're going to just bust out a lot of threes. And it was kind of crazy to think that this is kind of like, I felt like it was an off night, and I felt like everybody in this arena was just very dead and very quiet of what just happened. But let's just quickly go to the other stats here. So, of course, the Cleveland Cavaliers got 50 rebounds compared to the Boston's 46. And in the turnover categories, Boston won with only 12. Meanwhile, Cleveland had 17. So, I mean, it's going to be obvious that Cleveland is going to was not on their form today. They were definitely not on their form today, and I could see a little bit of rust, but I mean, it still doesn't matter. This team is still pretty good. This team will always be pretty good. It just kind of sucks because the East was going to be a very interesting place. It was going to see if the Celtics can repeat as first place champs again. But I think it's going to be the Cavaliers this time. Although I do have a question about the Cavaliers now because they had an 18-point lead at one point in this game, and they just let it slip by. I mean, obviously, if they were making their threes, maybe it would have been a different story. But it has to tell you something that happened last year is that they make these big leads, but they just can't hold on to them. And that's going to be a very big issue, especially when you go against the likes of the Warriors or anybody from the East that's a very streaky three-point shooting team because of how quickly the tides can turn in that game when you make a three-pointer compared to a two-pointer. And let's just quickly go to the team stats right now. Just a little bit more stats for you guys to throw at you. Personal fouls is about the same. Nothing really too much. Blocks about the same. Steals, the Celtics led in a lot of steals, and that led to what we saw that the Cavaliers had 17 turnovers, which is not going to do anybody anything. But that's either here nor there. And it's just, oh man, it's just very disheartening to see, especially as a Celtics fan. It's just, I don't know, man. I think this game left me a little bit emotionally drained, and it's not because I was part of the game or anything like that. It just left me emotionally drained just for the sake of Gordon Hayward and seeing his situation and seeing how, like I said earlier, that the life was just sucked out of the arena. It was ridiculous how much that one play just affected everybody. Even as a Cavalier fan, they were distraught at what they saw, and I don't know if they watched the replay of it. I'm sure they went on their phones and checked what happened because I'm sure they weren't going to show it on the big screen, but it's just very disheartening to see. And I'm just going to see who else did very well here. Kyrie had 22. I think a little bit of a disappointing game for him. I thought he could have been a little bit better in certain situations. He played 39 minutes, but it didn't seem to me like he played a full 39 minutes until the end of the game where you really saw him in his three-point shooting, and that's where it came into play. Jaylen Brown, of course, I knew he was going to step up, but I didn't think he was going to step up like this, and this is a great sign for us Celtics fans. Of course, everyone knew that the Cavaliers were a very strong team, and I thought myself that they were a strong team, and that's why I picked them ahead of the Celtics. And the reason why I did that is because I think this team is still young, and they're still growing. And I think this was going to be the year where they grow, and until LeBron leaves for LA or wherever he ends up going or staying, it's going to be a team where we're going to be competing, but we're not there yet. And I think if we would have had one more year, we would have drafted someone crazy. Not in the first round, but just a very late second round or late first round pick where they could help us in different categories such as rebounding, assisting, or just doing something that's very defensively. Then I think we would have been perfect. And the problem also that the Celtics have, and it's going to be a very big problem for this team, and that is going to be the bench. When Kyrie Irving's out and Al Horford is out, your only starters really is Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier, Shane Larkin somehow got 5 minutes in the game, which is interesting, and also Baines. So when you look at the roster here for the bench, you see that there was really no scoring productivity besides Marcus Smart, and that was just during the third quarter, which is something you always need. You always need that spark plug, someone to get you going and get you wrapped up and very emotionally in the game, because once it was a close game, you could see that the Celtics were looking for the kill, but the problem is that when you shoot 25%, it's not going to help at all. I mean, you're just not going to win the game. And the bench for the Cavaliers, I think, was a lot better, although I think LeBron played a lot of minutes in this game. He played 41 compared to everybody else. I think the next person was Jay Crowder, who played 35. Kevin Love only played 28. D Wade only played 29. Derrick Rose played 31, which is also great for him to play that many minutes because of all the knee issues, and I hope that he does very well this season. And we saw that he had a very clutch three, and I was kind of irking at it because it was a three that gave him the lead at the end of the third quarter, and I was distraught because I really wanted it to happen. But like I said, it is what it is for that. And I don't know, man. The first opening game of the season, I would call it more of an emotional draining game just for Celtics fans and just fans of the NBA and fans of Gordon Hayward because of that injury and what it did to the whole arena and what it did to the teams themselves. Seeing that injury, seeing one of your fellow co-workers, your fellow teammate, your friend got hurt really badly, and it just sucked for the whole NBA in general. And I hope he has a speedy recovery, like I've said before. I hope his family's doing all right. Prayers up to them, prayers up to the family. Hopefully that he can make a speedy recovery and, kick butt whenever he comes back. I'm hoping that he comes back in 6 months. Maybe he can, maybe he can't, but we'll have to see on from here. Man, oh man, what a game, guys. The Houston Rockets escape by the hair of James Harden's beard, and they win 122-121. What a crazy sequence that just happened there. Kevin Durant didn't get the shot off in time. Any more time and that would have went in. But this is a moral victory for those who are not Warriors fans. But there's still going to be a lot of things to talk about in this discussion. And let's just get right into it, guys. So first off, for the Rockets, we're going to go look at their team stats right quick. So the Rockets shot 48% from the field, 36% from three-point land, 13 turnovers, 43 rebounds as a whole team, compared to the Golden State Warriors, who shot at 53% from both three-point land and field goal, along with 17 turnovers, which is never good, and 41 rebounds, getting out-rebounded by the Houston Rockets. And it was kind of crazy to me and to see that the Golden State Warriors almost shot 30 points a quarter, which is outrageous amount of points, except for the fourth quarter. They only shot 20, and I think that's when they got a little bit careless. They were up by double digits in the fourth, 17 points, and they let it slip away. And I think the reason why they let it slip away, and it wasn't anyone's fault of their own, but the fact that Draymond Green got injured in that game, especially in the third quarter, it just really, I think he is the heart and soul of that team, and I think Draymond Green is just that guy. And although as a Warriors fan, not as a Warriors fan, but as someone who hates the Warriors, if you are that guy, you can understand and hate the team, but you got to respect Draymond Green because this dude is absolutely undeniably really good. The first couple seasons, you thought he was obnoxious, annoying, but you see that he's a really good team leader and someone that you trust to be on the defensive end and along with scoring points. And this dude almost had a triple-double. He was 1 point. The easiest thing to do in the NBA is to score, in my opinion. And 1 point, he was off from getting a triple-double. And that just shows you how much value he was and how much he was missed because they lost by 1 point. But anyway, guys, this is going to be the Houston Rockets Golden State Warriors section of the Charge. And let's just get right into a very interesting topic, and that is going to be the Chris Paul discussion. Was it a mistake for him to come to the Houston Rockets? And my answer is it depends. If they end up getting someone that is almost Carmelo-like because they know that they missed out on Carmelo, I think they really wanted Carmelo to come in, and I think Chris Paul was expecting Carmelo to come in, but instead he's now on the Thunder, and we're just going to have to find out, guys, what happens from here because his stat line looked pretty horrendous. 2 for 9 from the field goal. 3-point shooting was 0 for 4. He had 7 defensive rebounds, 8 rebounds in total. I don't know why I read the defensive rebounds, but 11 assists, which is very good, and I think he led the team in that. But he had a minus 13, which is never good, and that just shows you that he just doesn't fit this scheme and doesn't fit the priority of what the Rockets are going for, and that is a very iso ball, one-on-one with James Harden, and that's pretty much the offense of what D'Antoni likes to run, and it shows you that James Harden isn't going to change his game for Chris Paul. I know Chris Paul's probably going to get annoyed with the questions that he's going to get asked about, do you think that the offense needs to change around you? Do you think James Harden gets the ball too much, and he's probably going to get that a lot during the season. I'm sure he's going to get annoyed answering that, but in my observation as someone who watches the game, someone who's been enjoying the game since he was young, you could tell that this is not going to be a very perfect fit, and it's going to take a lot of time and management to get Chris Paul to fit into this team, because I think the way that it is that James Harden is just that dude that just wants the ball, and he will always get the ball no matter what. The thing that we have to talk about, though, for the Rockets, after we just discussed this Chris Paul thing, was that they only used 3 players off the bench. They only used Mahamute, PJ Tucker, and Eric Gordon. They didn't use anybody else. They didn't use Nene, Brown, Jackson, Qi. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. He's actually a pretty good beast. I watched him in the Summer League. But I want to see if D'Antoni's going to use these guys. I know D'Antoni likes to keep a short bench, and that's his style, but I don't think it's going to be a good style enough to where I think they're going to win championships, and that is the ultimate goal of what the Rockets want to become, is that they want to win championships, and I don't think they're going to win championships with this roster because they lost a lot of good players. I wouldn't say a lot of good players, but they lost a lot of good role players such as Patrick Beverley and others like that. And it's just going to be a very interesting thing to see. I mean, we still have to figure out what's going to go on with the Rockets. I think they're still one piece away. Like I said in my review a while back, I believe, is that they're just one player away. And that's just how it has to be until they can get that guy. But let's quickly go over to the Warriors and see what their stats were in terms of individuality. So Kevin Durant had 20. Steph Curry had 22. Klay Thompson had 16. Like I said, Draymond Green had 9. And Swaggy P had 23, which is ridiculous. And the guy that I really want to shout out because I watched him play a lot, and that was Jordan Bell. Watching him out of Oregon along with Dylan Brooks, I think Jordan Bell was he just was the guy on that team, and I think he showed it tonight as to what he can do because he shot 5 shots. And getting 5 shots on this team when you have superstars of the caliber of Durant, Curry, Thompson, and Green, it's very hard, and I'm glad that they gave him the shots because he is just that good of a player, and I think that he is going to be someone that I think will be very crucial down the line, especially as he grows on in the NBA. He's only a rookie right now, and I expect him to get even better than he is right now, and I will say this, the Golden State Warriors got a steal with him, and I'm very upset that no one else drafted him because I thought he was just that damn good, and I don't understand why these teams don't see that at all. He was just someone that was very long, athletic, can rebound, and he can also score. And, I don't know if Pac-12 basketball is scaring people because Kyle Kuzma, the guy that from Utah, he's doing very good as well. As I watched him play in Utah, I never thought he was as good he's going to be because I don't know if he really liked the coach or not. That's another video for another day when we talk about the Lakers, but that's besides the point. Jordan Bell, great player, great addition to the team, and it was great to see him involved in this game. And, this game came down to a missed shot by Kevin Durant, although, it still was in his hand and he made it. He just didn't get it off in time. But it just kind of showed you that the Warriors, when they are serious and they don't have the 17 turnovers, is that they can just kill teams. I don't know if the Warriors are going to have the same kind of reputation that the Cavs are going to have, and that is, they get up to these tremendous amount of leads, but the other teams come back, and depending on how the ball swings and how the pendulum goes, it can go either way now. So we're going to have to watch out for we're going to have to see in the next 10 games, see if that's a recurring theme and pattern. I don't think it is. And for the Warriors' sake, the Cavs, I think it's a very common theme, and I think it's going to happen again. But we're just going to have to see, guys, because, it was just very strange that the Houston Rockets came back from 17. Although, I mean, like I said before, of course it was because Draymond was out and he wasn't given that defensive pressure because you had Klay Thompson as your only real lockdown defender. But that's pretty much going to be it for this section, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of the game. Did you think that the Rockets are the real deal? Do you think James Harden is going to be the dude to win the MVP finally? Or do you think the Warriors are just kind of suffering from boredom, suffering from wanting to get that's going to be it for this episode of The Charge, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today. Prayers up, like I said, to Gordon Hayward. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe all the stuff on our YouTube channel here at Fusion Corp. Of course, we have the Dragon Ball. Make sure to check that out. We have Raw reviews, pay-per-view reviews. Of course, we're going to have TLC this weekend, and we're going to see if The Shield is going to beat up The Miz Taraj and his companions. But for now, I'm going to holler at you guys later. This has been your boy Bernie, and I will see you guys on the next episode of The Charge, guys. Peace.